Hello, friends. Welcome. Welcome, welcome. All right. If you can hear me, I just want to do a real quick volume check. If you can hear me, if you can give me a yes, I can hear you, or some indicator. Can you all hear me okay? Is the sound coming through? Yes. All right. Perfect. Thank you so much. Okay. So let's give it about 3 more minutes here.
All right.
All right, Vay, I'm going to hide you for a quick second. We're going to
Okay.
give it 3 more minutes and then we'll get into the share.
Awesome.
All right, everyone. Thank you so much for joining on time. Be on time as much as possible. Okay, let's see here. All right, so let's see. We have Philly Dom. Welcome, Philly. You're watching from San Salvador, El Salvador. Awesome. And we have, let's see here, Perry S. Welcome. All right. And LOL67. Welcome. So glad you can join us today. Today is going to be a really good live stream. It's going to be an excellent share. Can't wait to get into it. So we'll give it a couple more minutes as more people join the live. And before I introduce my guest, I do have some housekeeping items that I want to go through. Let's see here. So we'll do that here in a couple minutes. Okay. So Vay, I'm gonna mute you for a quick second.
Okay.
And then I'll take you off mute. Okay.
Okay.
All right. So I hope everybody's having an excellent weekend so far. It's freezing cold here. Let me give you all a real quick temperature check while we're waiting for more people to join the stream. All right. So in Anchorage today, at this very moment, it's 5 degrees, a high of 20 and a low of -1. So that's what's in store for us today. Oh, gotta love it. Gotta love it. Okay. So we're almost at our time here. Okay. And I have to remember there's a delay. Okay, we're going to go ahead and get into it. So welcome back to my channel, Happy Girl Alaska. I am your girl, Terry, aka your Alaskan homegirl. If you're new here, welcome. So like I said earlier, we have a special guest joining us today. His name is Vay, and just like the title says of this live stream, he is going to be talking about his experiences living and working in Healy, Alaska as a seasonal worker. He's an excellent conversationalist, so I know this is going to be a good share today. Feel free, if you have any questions or comments for Vay, to put those over in the chat box. Real quick, I want to go through a couple items here. So this is another exclusive live stream, meaning that in order for you to put questions or comments in the chat box, you have to be a subscriber for 5 weeks or more. Anything less than that, you won't be able to use the chat. And the reason why I do that is I want to show my appreciation for those viewers who support the channel by subscribing to the channel. And so as you commit more to being a subscriber to this channel, then you'll have the opportunity to take advantage of some of the other perks that are going to be coming down the line. Okay, so let's see, there's that. And then I also wanted to extend the invitation for you all to follow me on Instagram. That is where I'm going to be posting more up-to-date types of things that are happening in my life. And also the community tab. A lot of times what I like to do is whatever I post on Instagram, because I know not everyone is on Instagram, post the same information on the community tab in YouTube. So stay tuned for that. You can keep up with me that way. If you're wanting to support the channel, liking the videos, commenting on the videos, subscribing to the videos, participating in the chat are all free ways that you can support the channel. And by the way, if you haven't hit the thumbs up button on this video, if you can go ahead and do that now, that would be great. So that way it helps this video show up in the algorithm. So that way I don't get buried underneath everybody else. If you wanted to support the channel monetarily, what you could do is there are options to purchase a super chat. You could also donate through CashApp to TerreeBold. And I can put a banner on the bottom here in a second, but if you wanted to donate to the channel, you can do that as well. And let's see what else is there. Oh, yes. So I had mentioned that I will be hosting a retreat next year. So next summer, I will be hosting a retreat. The dates are June 17th through June 22nd. If you want more information on that, go to my community tab on YouTube. And I have a link where you can sign up for a wait list. I already have quite a few people that have signed up on the wait list. Right now, I only have one retreat scheduled, but I may schedule another one depending on the level of interest that comes through. So if you haven't seen those details, as I mentioned, go to the community tab on my YouTube channel. And then we have another live stream coming up tomorrow. And in that share, I am going to be talking about how you can make money while you're living in Alaska. A lot of times we talk about the high cost of living, but then there are also some financial benefits that you can take advantage of if you're living in Alaska, if you're an Alaska resident living in Alaska. All right, so I think that does it for all the housekeeping items. So real quick, before I introduce my guest, let me acknowledge some of the folks who have joined the live stream. Let's see, we have, Complimentary Sports. I hope I didn't mess that up. All right, I am looking at an angel. Oh, that's sweet. Welcome to the live. And we have Michael Carson. Hi, Michael, welcome. Okay, perfect. So I think as people trickle in, I'll be sure to highlight your comment and welcome you to the stream. So my guest today is Vay, and let me take you off mute, Vay. Here we go, hold on. Is it pronounced Vay Vonte?
Yes.
Okay.
You can just call me Vay.
Just call you Vay. Okay, awesome. Yes. So I have with me Vay, and he is a fellow YouTuber. He also has a YouTube channel of the same name, Vay Vonte. He spent some time here in Alaska, in Healy, Alaska, during the summer as a seasonal worker. And so I don't want to spoil anything. I will let him speak to all the experiences. But what I want to do is just say, I watched his channel, and if you're interested, I've included a link to his Instagram as well as his YouTube channel. Go check him out, go subscribe, support. What I gathered from looking at your channel, and let me bring you up here.
Okay.
People can see you.
There we go.
All right, here we go. This is Vay. So Vay, what I gathered from watching your channel is that you are an explorer, you're an adventurer, you are a motivational person, and I even gathered that you're a spiritual person. That's what I got from checking out your videos. Such a breath of fresh air. And so I felt that it would be really cool to have you come on, share your story, give us a little bit of your background pre-Alaska, and then let's get into the details of your experiences while you were here. So you're from New York.
Yeah, that's where I was born.
Okay. You want to expand from there?
Yeah, so I was born. My history is a little complicated. Like when people ask me where I'm from, it's like there's a lot of answers I could give. But I was born in New York. I lived there for till I was about 4 years old. Then my parents moved to Virginia. I lived in Virginia for a little while. And my mom, she's a teacher, and she's like in the whole teaching industry or whatever you call it. And she had a job opportunity to work in Abu Dhabi, which is like the Middle East. So we lived there for 2 years, and then after that, we came back to the U.S. Went to Virginia for like a year or two, and then now I'm back. I've been in New York, like on and off for the past 5 years, but I know New York the most.
Okay, so you consider New York home?
Yeah.
Is that fair to say?
New York and Jamaica.
Jamaica. All right. Do you want to tell, so did you spend a lot of time in Jamaica, like for any long stretches of time?
I say the most I spent there was when I went recently, which was in October. I was there for about a month, about 4 weeks. So that's been the most I stayed, but it's been like on and off throughout the years. Like I remember going as a kid, and even like around 2014 when I was in middle school, we had like a family reunion down there. That's where most of my family is, in Jamaica.
Oh, okay, got you.
But they're all over. They're like some in Canada, London.
Wow.
Yeah, all over travelers. That's where I get some of
awesome. I was gonna say that's where you get that travel bug from, right? You come from a family of people that have just explored the world. I love that. I love that.
Especially my mom.
Oh, your mom. Okay. Okay. Very nice. So, let's see here. You have siblings, right?
Yes. Five.
Five siblings. And I believe you mentioned that out of all of your siblings, you're the one who kind of marches to the beat of their own drum.
Yeah.
Right?
Pretty much, yeah.
And so when the idea of moving to Alaska came up and you presented that to your family, were they surprised at all?
Yeah. Yes and no, because like I was telling you before, my parents, they're used to me being the one that's like always, doing some wild adventure. Even like the year before I went to Alaska, I went to Kenya, like under a program called Woofing. So it's like a work exchange. Basically, you go there, you help the family out with their farming or whatever, and for exchange they give you housing and food, and they show you around. You get to see like the local culture, all types of things like that.
Wow.
Yeah.
And did you made some videos, right, while you were over there in Kenya?
Yeah. If you go like really far back, then you'll see them. It's about 3 or 4 videos. Yeah, 3 or 4 vlogs.
I'm going to have to check those out. I think when I was on your channel, I was focused a lot on your experiences in Alaska, but I definitely want to see what your experiences were like while you were over in Kenya.
Yeah.
So, okay, I know what people are kind of waiting for, what they've come here for. So one of my questions for you is, Alaska was not really your first choice. I know. So tell us, how did you get interested in Alaska? Did it begin at a pretty young age, or?
Pretty much a young age, because like growing up, I was always that kid watching, like instead of watching cartoons, I would be watching Nat Geo while I was watching like all the animals like in Africa or whatever. And I Alaska was always one of them, and Yellowstone. I just like love that stuff, like just animals and wildlife, and that's something that like followed me throughout my years growing up, and it just came back around. I'm like, wow, if I'm gonna go somewhere, it definitely needs to be like Alaska, Yellowstone. But to go back to like what was the question again? Sorry, getting off track.
Yeah, so I was just curious what got you interested in Alaska, because it seems like Alaska for a lot of people is not really something that's top of mind when you think of
Yeah,
places to visit or to move or live,
right.
you know. So
Okay, so it's an exotic place, and I'm just an exotic person. I like to do like rare things that people don't usually do. Like when people think of going somewhere to travel, they'll probably think of like some places like in Europe or places in the Caribbean, but Alaska is like one of the places that's not everyone's top like travel choice just because they think it's always Arctic freezing cold up there, which is not true. But
right.
yeah, I just want to do something different, you know.
That's awesome.
It had a lot to do with like just seeing the nature and just like just getting the experience, to be honest. Yeah.
Okay. Okay. And so was your first thought, was it to just visit Alaska, or was the first thought to get a job and work temporarily while living in Alaska? I'm just curious, like,
Mm.
how, because a lot of people think about visiting Alaska. Well, I won't even say a lot, right? If
Yeah.
people think about Alaska, they say, okay, I'll visit for a little bit, but
Right.
then I'm going back home.
Right.
But you ended up finding a temporary job here
Mm.
and living and actually experiencing Alaskan culture.
Yeah.
So was the thought in mind initially to find work here, or was it something that was maybe kind of a necessity? Well, not even a necessity, because if you have a job while you're here, you're making money, and then accommodations may or may not be included in that, rather
Right.
than just coming out of pocket
Right. Right.
and
Right.
having a vacation here.
Mhm.
Yeah.
So yeah, I wanted to come up there, and I was like, all right, I'm gonna go up there one way or another. I'm gonna figure it out. And I ended up getting like, all right, one of my friends, she ended up sending me a link to a video, and it's another guy talking about seasonal work. And when I watched that video, I was like blown away. I was like, what? I did not know this exists. Like I should have done this like right out of high school. But then after that video, I started like researching, and I found the website, which is called coolworks.com.
What
And
was it called?
Cool Works.
Cool Works. Oh
Yeah,
yes.
Cool Works.
Yes.
Yeah. And I just started looking. There's like literally every state in the country was offering some type of job, whether it was like um, in a gift shop or in a national park. Just so many opportunities that you wouldn't even think of. And they're like they range from like some are like 1 month only, 5 months, 6 months. Some are like year round. Some have housing, some don't. Some feed you, some don't. It's just all types of opportunities. You just have to really sit and do the research. Like at times, I was on my laptop for like hours at a time, just looking at them. Yeah, cool works. That's a good spot.
Yeah. I mentioned that in one of my previous live streams because somebody was saying that they were interested in finding work here that included accommodations.
That's the one. That's the one.
Yeah. Did you look at any other job boards like LinkedIn or Indeed or
Yeah. I also was looking at Indeed, like just out of curiosity. I was like, I wonder if Indeed has it as well, because it was at the time when I was just like looking at all types of options. And I went on Indeed, I typed in work in Alaska, and I ended up finding the gift shop that I was working at in Healy slash Denali, because it's like in the same area.
oh, they're pretty close, right?
Yeah, like so we were our housing was in Healy, but we were working right outside Denali National Park in the gift shop.
Oh, got you.
Yeah,
Okay.
so the
And Den-
experience was mostly in Healy and Denali, those areas.
and Denali is really popular. I know in the summertime, right? A lot of
Yeah,
people like to go there, visit the national parks and stuff.
so many people were there. So
Mm-hmm.
yeah, especially
So,
from what I heard.
can you say that again, Vay?
Yeah, especially compared to last year, from what I heard, because of like when COVID first broke out, there was like they had no customers up there. Like
Oh, I
business
believe
was
it.
slow. Yeah, can you hear me well?
I can. Yeah. Yeah.
Okay,
Now I can.
okay, sorry.
Yeah. I think people were trying to make up for missed travel the year
Yeah,
before,
yeah,
right?
for sure, for sure. That's what a lot of people were saying. They're like, yeah, I'm tired of being in the house and not doing anything. So people were just booking tickets, and they were from all over, like New York, Louisiana. A lot of people came up from Colorado, just all over. There wasn't
Wow.
many like foreigners though. It was mostly just Americans. Like there was no Canadians because at the time Canada was still on like that tight lockdown, so there was no
Hmm.
Canadians. Just people from the states. And Alaska was actually one of the few places you could fly to without a COVID test. So that's what brought a lot of people up.
Oh, they didn't require a COVID test for
At,
you to
at the
fly in?
time, though, yeah,
Okay.
they
So
made it.
were you keeping a close eye on what the travel restrictions were for Alaska and
Oh
the
yeah,
different mandates that were in place? Did you track the number of COVID people that had it and all of that stuff? Was that important to you?
um, not really. I was mostly just checking out. Like before I went there, I was checking out like the requirements to fly there. Because usually when I go to places, I like to be on top of it. Because they'll quickly like ruin it, like mess up your whole experience in the airport. Like when you don't follow
Exactly.
through. So I was like on top of it. But as far as like checking out like particular numbers and everything, I wasn't too worried about it.
Gotcha. Yeah, I was wondering if the numbers in Healy, right? Because their population is pretty small. Isn't it about 900 people
Yeah,
that live there? Uh-huh.
yeah. Now you see the same faces like day in and day out. It became
So
like a
what
routine.
what are the people like there?
Um, adventurous and weird, but weird like in a good way. Like everyone's very, very unique. Everyone's like always ready to just go out and oh, let's go take down a moose or let's go hike up Mount Healy or something like that. They're always up to something, which I love.
I was going to ask you too, because I kind of have an idea from watching some of your videos. Did you feel out of place when you arrived to Healy?
The first 2 days, yes, but I quickly caught on like the vibe, and I was like, wow, people here are very like just non-judgmental and just like welcoming. Like everyone wants to know your background story because most people that come up there to work, they're getting away from something. They're getting
Oh,
away
okay.
from they're just they don't think like your average person, like because they're in Alaska. Yeah.
Right. And would you agree that you have to have somewhat of an adventurous spirit to want to
Oh,
come to Alaska in the first place?
oh yeah. Oh
Or
yeah.
at least curiosity, right?
Yeah, yes, yeah. Because if you don't and you're just coming up there like just to work, then it won't be too fun because you'll be constantly thinking about how cold it is and the weather and how expensive things can be up there. It's all
Yeah,
about like mindset, really. That's what makes the experience your mindset.
absolutely.
Yeah.
So, okay, so you found the job, you landed a job in Healy working at a gift shop.
Mhm.
What kind of planning did you do from there? After you found out they were giving you the position, what did you do to prepare yourself for coming up to Alaska?
I was jumping up and down. Let me see. I was just like, all right. I started buying like Alaska gear. I started getting what are those things you call them that you put on like later thermal. I
Thermals?
started buying like thermals and gloves and knives and all types of little fancy things just in case because just from what I saw on media and TV, I'm like, all right, maybe this is the place you want to have like a little knife just in case you're out in the woods or something. And I had like a little, those hiking backpacks people carry, and it has like the double strap one on your waist and the one that goes up.
Yes.
Yeah, I had one of those. What else did I get? I brought some boots. Just, I don't know, winter stuff that I thought was like winter proof, even though I was going in the summer.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Interesting. Okay. So did you look for a checklist or something like that
Yes.
told you how to prepare or what types of items you wanted or needed to bring with you?
Yeah,
Is that what you
I was on Google and YouTube in and out, day in and out. Like your channel was one of the channels I was watching. So yeah, like I said, this is awesome to be having a live because it's crazy how things work. Like before I went there, your channel was the one I was watching the most, and I was just like constantly Googling things and trying to figure out like how the weather was going to be each month just to prepare.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was mostly YouTube and Google. Like I'll Google like um clothing to bring to Alaska for the summer or things like that. To prepare as best as I could.
Now, what were some of the things, because you came up during the summer and from some of the research I did on Healy, they hit 70s, 80s. And I believe, did you get here in April? Was it?
It was it was the last day of April, but I didn't get to Healy till May 1st. I took a
Okay.
train from Anchorage all the way up to Healy.
And what were the temperatures like in Healy during that time?
In May or the whole summer?
I will say when you first got here, because I just imagine you getting off the plane with all this
Oh.
gear. And then you're stripping everything off because it's a lot warmer than you thought it was
Right.
going to.
Yeah, when I got there, it was like what in the 40, like it was like I literally remember it was 40 degrees. I'm like, what?
Yeah.
It feels just like any other, like it literally felt like where I was coming from, because when I went there it was turning spring in New York, so it was about the same temperatures, like 40s, 60s, and when I got to Healy, it was about the same, but there was just ice everywhere, like it snowed the previous day or something.
Okay.
Yeah. But for the most part, it wasn't as cold as I thought. Because that same day, I went to my hotel and I just walked somewhere and I went hiking, just checking the place out.
Oh, you did that day one?
Yeah, because day
Oh,
one, I flew from JFK to Anchorage, and then I had to get a hotel for one night because the day afterwards I was supposed to take a train from Anchorage all the way up to Healy and meet up with the person who hired me and the rest of my coworkers, which I ended up meeting on the train.
wow. So how long was that train ride from Anchorage to Healy?
Oh boy, it was about 8 hours, 8 or 9 hours. But
Okay.
I loved every minute of it.
I bet the scenery was gorgeous, right?
Yeah, it was like Jurassic Park. You're just in the train with the glass, and you can see right through it. And you just see like the mountains. It was the first time I ever seen mountains with ice on them. It was amazing. And then I remember seeing moose on the side with a calf just walking.
Yeah.
Nobody's business. I was like, what? This is a dream.
I tell you what, taking the train is one of the most awesome ways, I think, to see Alaska, right? And like you said, the way that they have the train constructed is you can see like the top you can see out of as well, right? As well as the sides.
Right.
Maybe it depends on which cars you're in, but I just remember you had a really great view.
Yeah. I remember it was like the window was like really, really big. So you could see like everything. I think even the roof was glass. You could see everything. Like if an eagle was flying over the train, you could see it. And then the mountains would just be off in the background. It was like a painting, like a live painting. Yeah,
Wow.
it was nice. It was nice.
And I think that's one of the other things that people would be surprised to see is just how beautiful Alaska is.
Yeah, seriously.
Yeah.
I was telling people like if you let the cold stop you from going to Alaska, then you're missing out. The
Yeah.
cold,
Tell them come up in the summer.
right?
Yeah. Okay. So, let's see. So, one of the things that I mentioned when I was talking to you is that you defy conventional advice, right? So was there anybody who tried to talk you out of coming here?
It's a good question. Not really.
No?
Not
Oh,
really. Not really. Not that I remember at the moment. No. And even if there was, I would have like tuned it out so hard I probably wouldn't remember.
yeah. There you go. That's the kind of mindset you have to have.
Yeah, like you gotta go for the things that scare you the most, because right on the other side of that fear is just like opportunities that you never even think would be possible. It's great.
I
That's why
love
I
that.
always am like a big advocate of, yo, just take a risk. Just take the risk. You know,
Yeah.
that element of trust that the universe is gonna work for you and things will work out as long as you're being brave and you're going after what you want.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
Absolutely. And you block out the naysayers, the negativity, and all of that stuff.
yeah,
Yeah, I agree. So, did you, and yeah, I think this is a fair question.
Mhm.
Did you, as far as planning, did you come up with a budget of, money that you wanted to make sure you had on hand prior to coming here? Or were you just kind of like, well, I'm going to be making money when I
Mhm.
come up to Alaska, so that's not really something I'm concerned about?
A combination of both.
Okay.
Because what the long term idea was like, all right, I'm gonna just drop everything and I'm gonna start traveling the world. I'm gonna backpack the world. So I knew I was gonna be in Alaska for an extended amount of time, and I was using it for leverage. So after Alaska, I could go on even more adventures, which I did. So prior, I was working a little job, like just saving up little coins for it, and ended up getting what was that check the government was sending out? Stimulus. Ended up
Yes.
getting those, and I took full advantage of that. And I think that was about it. And I just bought my plane ticket and I was like, all right, I'm set. I don't care. And I knew I was going to be making money out there. And plus, the job that I chose and got hired from, they were offering like an end of season bonus, which was even better,
Oh, wow.
which was one of the main reasons like I stuck it out. I was like, all right, definitely
And,
got
and
to.
so, and is an end of season bonus an incentive to encourage you to stay there? What is the purpose of an end of season bonus? What is that?
So they were saying, yeah, you have to complete the whole season, but it was like based on your performance originally. But when we started up there, we had like a shortage of workers. So we were still like, doing what we had to do, doing our work. And since we did a good job, they ended up rewarding us and saying, all right, you guys are just going to get like a set bonus at the end of the season for working so hard, even though we have not as much workers as we would like.
Yeah.
So yeah, it went from based off of performance, and then it just went to like, all right, we're just going to get it because like we're all doing a pretty good job. And they also made our housing free after that situation too. But at first, it was we were paying for the housing.
Oh, I thought the accommodations were included. So they weren't included initially, but then as time went on, they said, okay, we'll cover the cost of your accommodations.
Exactly, exactly.
Oh, okay.
No, there were people up there working, and their jobs had their accommodation included.
Gotcha.
Yeah, and some didn't, some did. It was like all over.
Can you describe what the place you lived in was like? You lived in a cabin, right?
Yeah, a tiny cabin.
Can you talk about that a little bit? Because I'd imagine coming from New York and then coming
Yeah,
to Alaska and living in a cabin, two
yeah.
totally different things.
Uh, so it was very cozy. That's number one. Very cozy. So our housing, it was like it was on our living property, and we had a main house. The main house had the kitchen, the TV, all kinds of things in there. People's paintings from the previous years all over the wall and stuff. And then outside, everyone had cabins. Some people shared, and some people had single cabins, but mostly couples that came there. They shared a cabin. So mine, I had like a little. It was about maybe 10 feet long, maybe shorter than that. It was almost people would call it a closet to be honest, but I was happy with it because I had like a little heater in there,
Oh,
a
nice.
fridge, a shelf to put clothes, a little bed, a desk. Like I was set. I was set. And then another cool thing about them is all the cabins had names. They all had nicknames. So it would be like Area 51, the Bat Cave. What's another one?
Were these names that you all gave these cabins, or they were already named when you got
They were
there?
already named.
Oh, wow.
Yeah,
Okay.
they probably were named by previous workers from the previous years.
Yeah.
Yeah, when we got there, they all had their names and stuff, and like just art all over them that we like added to, which was pretty cool. Yeah, and those cabins were awesome. They're awesome, and like some of them were different sizes, and they all had like their different pros and cons. Like some had like you know how bunk beds are, and it's like one level and then a second level. Some of them had things like that, but it was like wood, so you could put one mattress on the bottom and one on top. But some people had cabins like that to themselves, so they just had like all the space, so they could
Oh,
put
wow.
their suitcases and stuff or whatever just everywhere.
And was it kind of a first come, first serve situation as to what type of cabin you got assigned to,
Yep.
or
Yeah.
okay?
So when we got there, I remember them. All the cabins were there, and they were all like, "Okay, you guys could choose which cabins you want, or like who wants to be roommates, or whatever."
Yeah.
So people would be like, "Oh, you want to be roommates?" We're like, "Yeah," and then they would give them cabins. So one of them was called Love Shack. I don't know how I got that name, but that was the name of one of them. It was like a bed here, and it had like a space in the middle and a fridge, and then two
Yeah.
people would share that. But people ended up like going and coming throughout the whole season, so it was just like, yeah, people in and out, just in and out, from cabin to cabin.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
So I want to backtrack a little bit because I'm really intrigued by this seasonal work.
Mhm.
So you had to pay for your plane ticket to come here, so that
Yeah.
wasn't covered.
Yeah.
What else did you have to come out of pocket for?
The plane ticket?
Was transportation included?
No. So it was the plane ticket, um, and I got a discount on the train ride up to Healy. And yeah, that's about yeah. Basically, every my weight, like getting up there, I had to cover pretty much.
Okay.
Yeah, but most jobs up there you don't. Some of them they pay for your flight, but that'll be jobs like the fisheries where you work in a fish factory,
Mhm.
like the slave jobs I call it.
Oh,
Yeah,
okay.
yeah, those they pay for your flight, they cover you and everything, and you just go up there. But it's not like the experience I had where I at least had freedom. Like I had maybe 2, 3 days off, and I could just literally do whatever.
So you could leave Healy if you wanted to and come into Anchorage.
Absolutely. If I had
Okay.
the ride or a way there, yeah, there's multiple times I did that. Like there would be days. So in Healy, there the grocery store that was there was extremely expensive. So what we would do is we would get in one of our friends' cars, we would group up, and we would go up to Fairbanks to the Walmart or the what's that red one called? Fred Meyer.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Yeah, we would shop there, and just get our little videos and then come back down. So I had
Wow.
like maybe 2 or 3 trips up to Fairbanks from that.
So it was that significant of a price difference between if you purchase goods and items in Healy versus going all the way to Fairbanks. It was worth the trip.
Oh yeah.
Wow. Can you give some examples of some of the pricing in Healy?
Woo. So there's a store called Three Bears. I'm sure they have it in
Three
Anchorage too.
Bears is kind of like a Costco.
Yeah, exactly. So I remember the first day I went in there, I was like, "What?" I'm like, I might have to eat out, but then there's no places to really eat out. But I'll get into that later. So I don't. I think the prices are heightened up because it's harder to get goods up there.
Right.
Well, actually, I don't know because Fairbanks is further than Healy. Maybe it's because like Healy's in like sort of kind of a remote place.
Hmm.
But yeah, it's the only grocery store in Healy. So, for example, one thing of olive oil about this big would be like literally $20.
Wow.
Yeah, or what's that fish called? Halibut. A halibut fillet would be like $50. I kid you not.
Halibut is expensive here too, but
Oh,
not
it
50
is?
bucks.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
But like eggs, milk, and that kind of stuff, that was expensive
Mhm.
too.
Yes. Yes.
Mm.
Don't
Mm.
quote me, but I believe a gallon of milk was like around 10 or something like that. It was
A gallon of milk was $10.
about, don't quote me. It was around there. I know it was like double its normal price.
Yeah.
Yeah, that store was crazy expensive. Crazy expensive.
My goodness. So good thing that you all had an alternative because that is
Yes.
because my thinking as far as seasonal work too, I thought they provided food.
Some of them do.
Some of them do. Okay.
Yeah. So that goes back to what I was saying, how every job has different what's the word I'm looking for? Different pros and cons. Some
Yeah.
feed you, some don't, some you have more days off than others, so it's just like all over the place. But ours certainly had its pros and cons. But one of the cons was like the expensive like groceries at Three Bears.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's interesting. I'm gonna have to maybe I'll do a video on the cost of living in Healy because I mean this is blowing my mind.
Yeah.
Um,
Healy's nice. I love Healy.
so I'm curious about the so you kept making a reference to Brother Bear in your
Mhm,
video.
yeah.
And I
Yes.
noticed that you all were getting out quite a bit and exploring nature. What kind of wildlife experiences or encounters did you have, if any?
Ooh, I had more than I could count on my fingers. I remember running into moose a lot, a lot. I almost so me and two other guys one day we went into Denali National Park and we're just like, you know what, we're just gonna go off trail where no one goes and just go out there. We had our backpacks, our water, our snacks. We looked like people on Nat Geo Wild, like we were out there. And we just ended up going out there at least 5 miles. And when we're out there, like it's dead silent. We're just eating blueberries, and then all of a sudden I'm like, God, what's that right there moving? We're thinking it's a bear at first, so we're like, heart rate's going up a little bit, but we see like it's a moose, and the rack is like literally 10 feet on each side. It's crazy.
Yeah,
It's,
they get pretty big.
and it's just staring us down, and our dumb asses we're like, all right, let's go see let's go see it close. So we walk up a little closer, and it's like in the bushes eating branches and stuff, and it lifts its head and it starts running. So we all just like take off in a heartbeat, and then when we
Wait,
turn around,
it started running towards you or away from you?
it was away. We thought
Oh,
like the angle we were in, we just heard it and we
yeah.
thought it was coming towards us, so we all took off. But when we turned around, it was going the opposite way.
Oh,
So it
okay.
was just a funny situation. Like we're all running from each other. We're like, thank God, because if that monster knew what like he was capable of, he would have hunted us down. And they say the moose are the most dangerous in Alaska, but I don't know about that.
They say moose are the most dangerous.
Yeah, that's what a lot of people are saying.
Yeah, that's what I've heard too. But I
Yeah,
don't know. I think I'd be more afraid of a bear
that's what I'm.
than
That's
I
what
would
I
of
was telling people. That's what I'm telling people. And there's been moments where I was like, literally maybe 5 feet away from a moose with babies, and she didn't do a thing. I have
yeah,
video of that.
right. But
Yeah,
you wouldn't go up and try and pet any of them either.
yeah,
Yeah.
no. I'm a daredevil, but I wouldn't do that. I respect the animals in nature,
Yeah.
because
Yeah.
that's how you keep your safety. When you just respect what they are and they respect you, and then you just go about your business and you just observe them from a distance. Yeah.
Exactly. So did they prepare you for wildlife? Did they kind of give you, I don't know, some safety tips and things like that when you arrived?
First day, this dude was telling us that, oh yeah, you gotta have like bear spray pretty much everywhere you go. I mean, he was kind of hyping it up because we were new, but he was like, yeah, you gotta have bear spray, and they were teaching us the bear precautions and just all types of things, telling us about like little critters that run around. I don't know. Have you heard of they're like hamsters. They're called voles.
No. Voles?
Yeah, it's like a little rodent, and they run around in our cabins a lot, like in and out. But they're nowhere near as dirty as like New York City rats. But they're
Oh, okay.
yeah, they run up and down. So we had those around camp, and yeah, they gave us like just brief summaries on like all the animals, like how we have moose coming around throughout the springtime and summer. They definitely gave us warning though. Like in the main house, we had like a thing of bear spray. So in case any of us wanted to just go out to the park on our days off, we just grab the bear spray, bring it back.
Yeah.
Yeah, if we didn't have to use it, obviously.
That's good.
Yeah.
That's good. Yeah. I've seen some bears. Every now and then we'll have bears walking around in the neighborhood where I live too.
Oh,
And
okay.
I just steer clear. I get out of Dodge. I'm like,
Grizzlies are black bear.
black bear.
Oh, okay, okay.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. Yeah.
Let's see here. So, one of the things I'm always curious about is when people plan a visit to Alaska, there are certain things they want to make sure they experience before they leave. One of them is they want to see the Northern Lights. For some people, maybe they want to go fishing. It could be hunting for another person. I think you did quite a bit of hiking. Were there certain things that you wanted to check off while you were here?
Absolutely. I went to camp and be out in the national parks, kayak. I did most things. Some things I didn't do, like I think it's fishing. I didn't get a chance to go fishing because that was like more down south and where we were at the Healy, it's the interior of Alaska. So there's not the rivers that flow up there. The fish they can't breathe it in because it's like a lot of silt in the water.
Oh, okay.
But yeah, I wanted to kayak. It's hiking.
Did you get to go kayaking?
Yeah,
How'd you like that?
I loved it. It was so peaceful. It was so peaceful. It's just like when you're on the water, like you don't hear like anything besides like the birds and stuff chirping. It's so peaceful. Yeah, it was pretty like sketchy at first because it's like you're sitting down and you got a paddle. So like I almost tipped over a couple times. But
Oh
once I got
no.
the hang of it, I was like just out there.
Wow. I remember I went kayaking. It's been a long time, but just the way you see the environment around you is totally different,
Yeah, it's
right?
very
You're
therapeutic.
kayaking.
Yeah,
Did you see any wildlife while you were out there on the water?
nothing besides birds. Not that I remember. Not that I
Okay.
remember. Yeah, yeah. Well, yeah. When I was hiking though, at least where I was at. Maybe if it was inside the park, I definitely would have. Because like a lot
And
of
do
moose hang around the lakes and stuff because they eat the vegetation that's at the bottom.
yeah.
Yeah.
And did you see any glaciers while you were here?
Not in Healy, but when we were leaving out of Alaska, because we took a road trip from Alaska to California.
Yeah.
So in southern Alaska, we saw glaciers. I think it's called Glacier Bay. And
Okay. Hmm.
yeah, and we also saw a glacier in Sword, which was like amazing. That was on my bucket list too. That's what it was.
What was it?
Seeing a glacier. Yeah, it's
Wow.
something so majestic about the giant pieces of ice. It's like you're back in time or something.
I know there's something majestic about the glaciers too, right?
Yeah, for sure.
I remember one time my daughter and I, we were on a cruise and I forget what it's called when part of the glacier starts breaking off and going into the water. Oh my
Mhm.
gosh, just to watch that massive piece of ice and snow just like breaking
Yeah,
away.
yeah.
Did you
So
get to
cool.
see that too?
No, no, because the glaciers that we saw, they were the river glaciers. I think the one you're
Oh, I
talking
see.
about, the ones that are on the ocean.
Yeah.
Yeah. So like the ones it was like it's literally a float like a frozen river. So you'll see like the direction it was going, and it's just like frozen, and the water's just going all different types of directions. Yeah, it's pretty cool.
Gotcha. Nice. Um, Let me see here. Was there ever a point where you felt like you pushed yourself to the limits while you were here?
like me, like where I would want to leave.
Or like, let's say you really stepped outside your comfort zone to have a certain type of experience while you were here. You just decided,
Yes.
why not? I'm in Alaska. Let me go ahead and experience this.
Oh yeah, camping in like 30 degrees with extremely,
Oh,
extremely high
really?
winds. Yeah. Yeah. I remember that day. Oh my gosh. I woke up so aggravated, but I was like, you know what? I did it.
And did you go by yourself or did you have some people with you?
I had two people with me.
Okay.
Yeah. But it was, man, it was like, so right where our housing was, there was like basically a little forest right by us, like walking distance. So we would go over there and have fires sometimes, or just hang out, or just pick up rocks, or go harvest plants that people up there knew about, things like that. And then yeah, we ended up just camping one night, three of us. We had like a fire going, and the wind was kicking our ass, kicking our ass. Like it was
Yeah.
impossible to sleep. It was about 30 or 40 degrees that night, so really
Oh
cold.
my goodness.
I was layered up
Yeah. So you were able to keep warm?
for the most part, but when you wake up, all that warmth is like gone, especially when the fire is out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness. I've only been roughing it camping maybe twice, and that was enough for me.
Really?
Yeah. Any other camping had to be in a motorhome, RV.
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah.
I can't do it. Glamping, that's my thing now.
Mm,
I have to be comfortable.
yeah. I hear you. I hear
um,
you.
so I have to ask this question. A lot of times people will ask about the Black experience in Alaska.
Oh yeah.
And I tell people I can speak from the perspective of living in Anchorage, in that Anchorage is a very diverse city. And I have to say that I don't feel like we experience some of the issues that maybe folks are experiencing outside of Alaska.
Mhm.
What are your thoughts on that? What was your experience like?
So at first, I felt really uncomfortable because I was like, literally, I was the only black person on my camp. But the longer I was there, I did start to meet like a lot more people. Like people were coming from Jamaica and just people from like all over the states. So there was quite a few of them. But where I was like isolated there, and I was like, oh my gosh, I feel it. It's like it was like a culture shock.
Yeah.
Yeah, because they maneuver like pretty differently. But like I was saying before, people there are not judgmental. Like they don't really look at things like that. Like the most I would say that kind of made me feel like, oh my gosh, it was like I just got like a few ignorant questions. But I could tell it was just from just not knowing things. Like they assume like what do I say? Um, I don't know. Yeah, it was just thinking of the word. Forgive me. Hold on.
No, it's fine.
Yeah.
Um, I'll say from one of your videos that I watched though, there was a conversation that you were having,
Oh,
or rather that one of the drivers was having with you, and it kind of made me scratch my head a little bit. I was like, what?
yeah. Yeah. No.
But the way you navigated that conversation, I was so impressed because it showed maturity on
Mhm.
your part, right?
Right. Right. Thanks. Yeah.
Yeah.
So it would be situations like that. Like you would get ignorant questions, or like remember that video. The dude was like, "Oh, I could tell you got like some hood in you," and I'm like, "What, bro? Like, what do you
Right.
mean? What are you talking about?" I ended up
Exactly.
confronting him after that, but I didn't want to put it on the internet just to you
Yeah.
know not put him out there. But I definitely confronted him about that. But it would just be stuff like that, or I don't know. It was a lot of little things, but I
Yeah.
would say they were pretty cool. They're very welcoming. Very
Yeah.
welcoming. Yeah. But it's always just that cultural difference. You're always like just scratching your head, like, oh, you know.
Yeah.
Mm,
Now, one of the things too that in one of your videos, you encourage Black people to get out and travel the world, you know, and
Yes.
not limit themselves based on their culture or ethnicity. You want to speak to that a little bit more?
Yeah. So like I always say, it's important for us to travel because when you travel, it opens your mind up to like so many different perspectives, and perspectives is what separates the weak from the strong. So when you stay trapped like in your comfort zone, you're never gonna be able to know like what's out there. You know, you just think your way of life is that's it and that's how it's always gonna be. But if you take that one trip to wherever, maybe you're like, wow, maybe I want to live here, or I feel at home with the culture here, or you feel some type of connection. There's so many opportunities. Yeah. So I always just encourage people like get out your comfort zone and travel and use advantage, like take advantage of your resources because we all have different resources and opportunities. Because you know, more time people make excuses about what they don't have, but they're not looking at like what's in front of them. You know what I mean? So just take advantage of your, like I said, take advantage of your opportunities and just go see the world.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. So, babe, what I want to do is I want to go to the chat to see if anybody has any questions for you. Here, let me take a look here. If anyone has questions for Vay, if you could put them in the chat, we'll go ahead and have him speak to those. Let's see. So, Vay, if you have anything that you want to share, here it looks like we might have a question here. Is there anything else about your experiences in Healy that you want to speak to? Because I'm curious to know if you're planning to come back to Alaska
Mhm.
at any point in your life. Would you come
Definitely.
back? And would it be as a seasonal worker again? Would it be to vacation? What time of the year? Would you just kind of stick to coming during the warmer months, or do you want to experience winter? You want to touch on
Yeah.
that?
For now, I'll definitely stick to coming up in the warmer months. I'm not ready for a winter yet, but I'll experience it one of these days because I'm an extremist. I want to like, why not, you know? And I'm coming back to Alaska. I don't know when, but I'll definitely be back up there. Hopefully next summer, actually. And I would work another seasonal job because the vacations up there just bite in the pocket, you know?
Yes.
Yeah.
And
Plus
would
now
you
I have
try? Oh,
connections
I'm
and
sorry.
so, yeah. Plus now I have connections and friends up there, so it's easier for me to just go and crash at somebody's place or something. And I want to bring people up there, like my family, like just to show them how it is. Like it's not freezing Arctic all the time. It's a nice
And
place. Good vibes.
would you take them to Healy or would you take them to a different city, you think?
Yeah, I'll take them to Healy. Yeah, Healy, and just everywhere I can. Especially Seward. So I love Seward. It's pretty
Oh,
different being on the beach with like a mountain with ice on it in the background. That was new, but yeah,
yeah,
definitely.
Seward is fun. It's so much
Mhm.
fun in the summertime. If you didn't get a chance while you were here, I would recommend, because I think you're a thrill seeker, to try zip lining in Seward.
I tried ziplining, but it was in Healy.
Oh, you did that? Can you tell us about that? I didn't even know they had.
Yeah. So where we were working, there was also like a lot of tours. Like they did Jeep tours, they did rafting. What else was it? Zip lining was one of them. And yeah, since we were working there, all the employees they had like discounts and stuff on zip lining. So basically, you wouldn't pay the price as a tourist, and you would just like basically tip the zip line guide or whatever.
Yeah.
And I ended up doing that, and it was awesome.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah, I would definitely want to go zip lining again for sure. It's so exhilarating,
Yeah.
you know. And I went in Seward, but I think they have a zip lining place out in Talkeetna
Mm,
too.
that sounds familiar.
Yeah.
Talkeetna,
Okay.
that's before. Is that south of Anchorage or north?
Um, I know it's heading toward. So it's if you go past Wasilla, Palmer, and just continue out that way.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I kept hearing that name when I was up there.
Huh. Okay. So here's a question. Out seeking rainbows. Hi. Hi. I'm so glad you're on the live. Out seeking rainbows is asking, do you do seasonal work in other states?
Alaska was my first, but I would do some in other states, especially Montana, like Yellowstone National Park.
Yeah.
But yeah, so far it's only just been Alaska.
Gotcha. So you have your
Yeah,
sights set on other places for seasonal work.
for
That's a
sure.
great way to get out and see the world,
Yeah,
honestly.
it is. It's like you're getting paid to travel, pretty much. It's all about how you look at it.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah,
Out Seeking Rainbow says, I agree. You are very brave, Vay. Perspective is everything, especially when you're a risk taker.
yeah.
Yeah.
Thank you.
So it looks like, let's see here. PupX13 says, do you think wood crafts are a good side hustle in Alaska? Dog houses, bed frames, benches, crafts, etc.
For sure, for sure. That's one thing I forgot to mention. There is money to be made in Alaska. There's so many opportunities because it has like, even though it's considered a state, it has its own like thing going on up there. Like you could thrive and do side hustles without the attention of the government or whatever. Because people support each other for the most part. So it's a good environment.
So it
So
sounds like they have that sense of community.
yeah, exactly. Like
Yeah.
you have to know your neighbor up there. You're not gonna live through winter.
Mm, that's
Yeah.
a good point. All right. So I know we've been having this conversation now for an hour. I'm not sure how much time you have remaining. Here, let's see. Out seeking rainbows. OMG, I agree. So much freedom here in Alaska.
Yeah. So much.
Yeah,
So much freedom. That's why I love this so much. The freedom and the people.
absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. So I don't want to end this stream, and I'll keep an eye out to see if more questions come in without having you talk about your YouTube channel.
Okay. On my channel, I pretty much just show my life. I try to inspire people and show people that like there's a life out there waiting for you. You just gotta, go after it. Go after what you want inside and follow the feelings that are like light. A lot of people put pressure on themselves to do this and that. Like there's a set manual for life. But if that was the case, we would have been born with it, but we're not. So it's up to you to just make your own story, make your own adventure. Just go out there and have fun. Just have fun. Like a
I
lot of
love
times people tend to be so like serious and I don't know. We put a lot of stress on ourselves.
Yeah.
And we have to come into our
Yeah, we
consciousness
really
and
do.
just, balance things out and just have fun. Have fun.
Absolutely. It looks like we have another question for you. Are there any movie theaters in your town? I was going to ask you about entertainment. Thank you, Camilleri Sports. What was the entertainment like out there? What options were there?
Hiking, um, partying. There were no movie theaters in Healy though. You definitely had to go to Fairbanks for that.
Okay.
Yeah, as far as entertainment, yeah, everything was mostly just outdoor stuff. Like there would be days where we'll go out picking blueberries and we would make pies and stuff from scratch, teas and all kinds of things. And I learned a lot about plants up there too. A lot
What
about plants.
one of the guys was kind of a plant expert, wasn't he? What do you
Yeah,
call it? Is that a botanist?
I
Was
don't,
he
you
a
know, I don't know the word for it.
okay?
I would call it a shaman.
Oh, all right.
You know, that's what
Yeah.
I consider. Like, cause I don't know. There's a knowing like about plants and stuff is like really a gift because those are like natural medicines that are untouched. You know, and having that
Mhm.
knowledge is so sacred because a lot of people tend to, stray more towards Western medicines and forget that all the medicine we need and want are right there in your backyard. For the most part, if you don't live in a big city. Yeah,
Absolutely.
we're out there picking yarrow and other plants, blueberries, all kinds of berries, certain leaves to make tea. It was amazing.
Did you have some of the teas from the plants that were picked right out of the ground? Did you?
Oh yeah, there'd be days like so before work, I would go out in the back behind my cabin. I would pick like fireweed or yarrow and just boil up some water, put it in there, and drink it just to keep my immune system, in check. And it worked.
Nice.
Yeah.
Let's see. So let's see. Out Seeking Rainbow says, any fun travel plans for 2022?
Absolutely, absolutely. Actually, I'm planning to go to the motherland in January. I'm still deciding on the country though.
Okay.
But yeah, that's the plan so far.
Very nice. And so far, you've only been to Kenya, right?
Yeah, on my own. But in previous
Okay.
years, traveling with my mom, we had went to Ethiopia.
Oh, that's right. Yes.
Yeah. But now I want to go explore West Africa and go dig up some roots. There's a lot of hidden gems over there in culture. So I'm gonna check it
Cool.
out, document it, so everybody could
And that'll
tune
be on your
in.
channel, right? You're gonna
Absolutely.
good,
Yeah.
good. I can't wait to see that. Okay, so let's see here. We have Michael Carson. Is there any seasonal work in Mo Bay? I've been there.
Mobe, where's that?
I'm not sure.
If it's in America, then most likely yes.
Okay.
Yeah, just check out the website Coolworks. I mean, it was in like there's jobs in Florida, Louisiana, Minnesota, states that you never even think about. Nevada, Utah, everywhere.
Let's see. Michael says Africa is in 2022 for him too.
Nice, nice. Yes, Africa is nice, nice.
Um, so PubX13 is asking, do the locals look at you as an outsider or is the culture welcoming?
Definitely very welcoming because everyone is coming from everywhere. So, yeah, they look at the tourists as outsiders. That's what I noticed when I was up there. Because, like, when you live there a certain amount of time, you know how certain things run and whatever. So, as long as you're there working, like, everyone's welcome. Because we're all from all over.
Yeah. Did you get to interact with any Alaska Native or Native Alaskan people while you were there?
As in, like, indigenous?
Yeah. Hmm.
Yes, I did actually. Not none that were like very very connected like to the culture. They were like mingled in with how the society is now. But they told me like stories of their forefathers and all kinds of things. Like I met this one girl. She was I believe it was Tlingit.
Okay. Hmm.
Yeah, her like all her family was Tlingit, and some of them still live like way up in the by the Arctic Circle and whatnot. And they were telling me about how they eat like seal, and it was so interesting. Yeah.
Yeah, it's a beautiful culture.
Yes, it is. It is. It needs to be preserved.
Hmm.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
a lot of it is like not even acknowledged. Like in Healy, that's another thing. Like up there, they're not really recognized as much as they should, because if it was not for the indigenous people there, no one would be able to live there. Because
Mm-hmm.
those are the same people who taught the invaders like the foods to eat, the type of clothes to wear, how to build like cabins and everything like that. So they need to be recognized more.
So you don't see that much Alaska Native art or
Not
anything
really.
like that? No. Oh, interesting.
And if you would, it would be like little totem poles in a gift shop. Like they were selling it as if it's like a costume. Like they're
Oh,
not. No one knows the origin or the purpose of like a totem pole or what's that thing called? Dream catchers and stuff like that.
mm-hmm.
Yeah, it'd mostly just be like sold on display.
Gotcha. That's
It's just kind of
interesting.
a thing that goes around the world in all cultures. They kind of just sell it like it's costumes.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. So it looks like Michael Carson was saying, is there any seasonal work in Montego Bay, Jamaica?
Oh, not that I know of. Not that I know of. I'm sure they got something like that going on, but if it was, it would be rare because the Jamaican dollar is less than the American dollar, so it wouldn't be a really popular thing. But I'm sure there is. You
Gotcha.
see, you see for you'll find. You'll be surprised.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Wow. Well, I think we're going to go ahead and start winding down here. So I do have a couple questions, though, that I want to ask you. If you had to give someone watching this, who's watching the live stream, or if they're catching the replay, if you had to give them some advice, if they're kind of on the fence about visiting Alaska, what would you say to them?
Say why not? Why not? Do you want to not do it and regret it years later, or do it now and actually give yourself a chance to see whether you actually want to be there or not? Like
Hmm.
just do it. Just do it. Like that Nike logo. Just do it.
Could you see yourself living in Alaska?
Maybe somewhere in southern Alaska, like Juneau or somewhere. No, I can't. The Fairbanks and Denali winters. Heck no.
Right.
No, no.
It's okay to visit, right? But you wouldn't
Yeah,
want to
exactly.
live there.
Yeah, but Alaska's
Yeah.
always gonna have a part of me. It's amazing up there. I love it.
And I think it's so cool that you want to bring your family too, so they can have that experience. Are
Yeah,
they
because
on board with that? Have you spoken with them? And are they excited about coming to Alaska?
yeah, my mom's trying to go up there.
Oh,
She's
nice.
actually supposed to visit me during the summer, but she ended up having to go somewhere else. But
Okay.
yeah. And I have like my two younger siblings,
Yeah.
and I want to bring them up there just to
Yeah.
give them that little shock.
I think it would be a neat experience for them. How old are they?
One is 18 and one is 16. All my
Oh,
brothers.
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, they should come up
Yeah.
here and they'll always have something to talk about. And when people hear that you've been to Alaska or that you live in Alaska, they light up.
Mm-hmm. Yep. When I was
Yeah.
in the gift shop and I was talking to customers, they were all like, "Oh, so why Alaska?" Or they would be like, "This one dude was like, wow, like I'm proud of you, man. Like a black man in Alaska, this and that." I'm like, "Oh yeah, yeah, yeah."
Right.
We travel too. Like when I was telling
Absolutely.
people like the story of how I got up there, they were all like, "Wow," they were really intrigued. Like I inspired so many people because there'd be
Cool.
like some customers my age, they'll come in and be like, "Oh, how do you do this?" And I'll just give them like all the advice.
Yeah. That's why
Yeah.
it's so important to share your story.
Yes, I agree.
Hmm. Okay, so it looks like, and I'm going to take a couple more questions. I don't want to hold you too long, Vay.
Yeah,
Um,
you're good. Take time.
Someone is asking, have you taken classes for studies or trade schools over there?
No, Not at all. I have not.
All right. And hi, Alaskan Girl 86. All right. She says the native hospital there in Anchorage sells handmade Alaska native stuff. Yeah, they
Oh,
have
okay.
some beautiful baskets in there.
Cool.
They really do, amongst other things.
Wow. Yeah, there was a few gift shops up there. They had like handmade parkas. They were like $2,000+. They were
Wow,
really, really
I
rare.
believe it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Huh. Okay.
Mhm.
Well, I have one more question for you, Vay. And then if you have any last words, then,
Okay.
feel free. And this is kind of a wild card question.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
So the question is, if you could invite a well-known or famous person to speak or perform at your next birthday party, who would it be and why?
Hold up. Repeat it. Sorry.
Yeah, if you could invite a well-known or famous person to speak or perform at your next birthday party, who would it be and why?
Give me a second. Um, I'll say the YouTuber called Wodi. What? How do you say his name? Wodemaya. Wodemaya.
What
He's
am I? How do you
yeah,
spell that?
WODE space and then MIYA. He does a series called Africa to the World, and basically what he does is he goes around all of Africa. He documents things from the cities to the indigenous tribes. He just shows people what's not being shown in Western media, and his channel really inspired me to start traveling there, and like he's very inspirational, just like a go-getter, very similar to me. Yeah, definitely. There's a few others, but that's the one I can think of like right now.
Gotcha.
Yeah. What am I?
Awesome.
So check
All
out that.
right. What's that? Go ahead.
I said, yeah, I'm telling people, yeah, check him out.
Yeah. Yeah. And did I spell that right?
Replace the I with an A.
Oh, replace the I with an A.
Yeah, my.
Okay. Okay. Yeah. I'll have to go and check him out.
Yeah, you'll like his channel.
Here we go. Okay, cool. So it looks like I think we're probably at a good stopping point. Do you have any parting words for us, Vay?
Go to Alaska, live your best life. Just live your best life. Be in the moment, spend less time on social media and more time in the woods because it's authentic. Just live your life.
Awesome.
Yeah.
All right. And where can they find you on YouTube, your YouTube channel? And I have it listed down in the description box.
Yes,
But
Vay
it's
Vonte.
Vay, and I'm going to put it on here.
And the Instagram is also the same.
That's right. Vay Vonte. There we go. Follow him on YouTube and on Instagram. All right.
Feel free to DM me for any questions, anything like that. Always ready to speak.
Awesome. And you're welcome back anytime, Vay. Anytime
Thank
you
you.
want to come back on.
Thanks for
All
having me
right.
on your channel.
What's that? Say that again.
Thanks for having me on your channel.
Oh, awesome. It's been my pleasure. Thank you so much for joining me today. And everybody who participated in the chat or watched the video, the live stream, thank you so much for your time. I will catch you tomorrow. We have another live tomorrow, so I'll see you then. Take care. Bye. See you, Vay.
All right, see you.